So what it is, YouTube? It's your boy D Dynamite here, aka MrBoxer.com, aka Mr. Holla at your motherfucking boy. So y'all see the video, y'all see the title, y'all know what time it is. Keith Thurman, put some respect on his name. Now, family, I feel like doing this video mainly because I've been, I'm a YouTuber, okay? I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I'm very heavily involved in the YouTube community. All right, I see a lot that goes on, okay? And I hear a lot of the chatter, okay? And a lot of the chatter is going towards the direction of Errol Spence besting Keith Thurman. So, family, I really can't rock with that. And the reason for that is because Keith Thurman just became the unified WBA and WBC champion of the world. But as soon as he wins the belts, everybody seems to be fixated on how Errol Spence would beat him in a fight and how they weren't completely and utterly satisfied with his performance against Danny Garcia. So let me start with that, okay? Let's address that first. When it comes to the Danny Garcia fight, family, I'm going to break it down for you real simple, real easy. The Danny Garcia fight was a blowout, okay? Danny Garcia got blown out by Keith Thurman. Yes, Keith Thurman took his foot off the gas because it was it didn't make sense for him to continue to take the amount of risk that he took in those early rounds. It didn't make sense for him to continue to do that, okay? When you're fighting a counterpuncher, okay? Their best weapon is timing, okay? So the later on into a fight it goes, the better they're able to time you, okay? Timing coming in and timing going out, okay? Danny Garcia, as the fight went on, was getting a better understanding of Keith Thurman's timing, so it made it more and more dangerous for him to come in and out, okay? In the beginning of the fight, he had to mix up his movement quite a bit, okay? He had to feint a lot, okay? He had to move a lot, okay? He had to mix up a lot of his punch selection because, again, Danny Garcia is a top-notch counterpuncher, okay? So, in those later rounds, like I said, it didn't make sense for him to take the amount of risks that he took in the beginning of the fight because he was so far ahead on the scorecards. Danny Garcia was sitting back in the pocket waiting for Keith Thurman to do something so he can counter him, okay? And as a result, ended up getting outworked, outgunned, and outboxed, okay? So that's what happened in the fight. It was a blowout. It wasn't close, okay? For those of you who say it was close or Danny won, listen. You're entitled to your opinion, but that's not how it went in my eyes, okay? All right, so we addressed that, okay? We know what that is, all right? I already addressed that in another video, so y'all know what that is, okay? Now, when it comes to Keith Thurman being the champion of the world, the unified champion of the world, give this man his respect. I mean, let's keep it real, man. This dude has earned his place here, okay? His schedule hasn't been the easiest. The guy fought Sean Porter last year, okay? All right, he fought Diego Chavez, okay? Carlos Quintana, all right? He's fought in all kinds of crafty veterans and top-notch athletes, okay? Keith Thurman has not had the easiest road, period, okay? So the guy is battle-tested. The guy has earned his spot, all right? Give the man the respect that he deserves, all right? To say that Errol Spence could easily knock out Keith Thurman, that's disrespectful. That's disrespectful talking about someone who's, for the most part, unproven, knocking out someone who has proved himself time and time again and who has bested the top tier people in the division in order to win his belt. Okay, when you look at somebody like Kell Brook, and the easy road that he had to winning the title. And I don't want to say easy like it was easy. I know it wasn't easy. Okay. But when you look at his come up record versus someone like a Keith Thurman's come up record, it's like night and day. All right. So how can you legitimately make the comparison or make the claim that someone like a Kell Brook or someone like a Errol Spence, given their history, given their experience, given their opposition, easily best someone who's fought top tier quality opposition at very least? All right. So that's all I'm trying to say, really, That's all I mean. That's all I'm getting at for the most part. Okay. But I'm going to take it a little step further, okay? Let's talk about Errol Spence in general. Let's talk about the Errol Spence versus Keith Thurman fight, since everybody wants to talk about that, okay? Now, I'm not going to give my thoughts on who's going to win, okay? I'll save that for a later video. When they actually make the fight happen, then I'll go ahead and I'll break that down step by step like I did in the last fight versus Keith Thurman versus Danny Garcia. But let's talk about that fight, okay? Let's look at both fighters for the most part, okay? Now, when we look at Errol Spence, keep in mind, okay, there's still a lot of things that we haven't seen from Errol Spence, okay? We haven't seen Errol Spence be forced to fight on his back foot, okay? We haven't seen Errol Spence be forced to think or be forced to make adjustments, okay? We haven't seen Errol Spence hurt, okay? We haven't seen Errol Spence, all right, in a compromising position. Keith Thurman we have. Keith Thurman we've seen in compromising positions. We've seen him battle back from being hurt. We've seen Keith Thurman make adjustments. We've seen Keith Thurman fight on the inside and then fight again on the outside. We've seen Keith Thurman use lateral movement. We've seen Keith Thurman change up angles, all right, and switch up his punch variation. We've seen a lot from Keith Thurman in general. Just comparing the two fighters, okay? So looking at this fight, you'd have to say that one has more variety, okay, has more of an arsenal than the other for the most part, just based on what we've seen, because we can only really go by what we've seen. We've only really seen Errol Spence fight in one mode, coming forward, okay, coming forward very strategically and tactfully, but we've only really seen him do that. We've never seen him do anything else. Okay, so for someone to say that Keith Thurman would easily lose to someone who we still have yet to learn much about, okay, defensively, offensively, heart-wise, chin-wise. Another thing, we've yet to see Errol Spence get caught solid by a hard-punching person, okay? Keep in mind the best fights in Errol Spence's career have been against Chris Algieri, who can't punch, and Leonard Bundu, who also can't punch. So we've yet to see him in there with a hard punching welterweight. Okay? Keith Thurman, we've seen him in there with Danny Garcia. We know Danny Garcia can punch. Okay? Keith Thurman, we've seen him in there with Diego Chavez. We know Diego Chavez can punch. Okay? So, I mean, you know, put some respect on his name, family. Keith Thurman has a very good chance of beating Errol Spence if that fight was to ever happen. Or when that fight happens, because I know what's going to happen. So when that fight happens, Keith Thurman has a very good chance of beating Errol Spence. Okay? He may not necessarily knock him out. It's possible, but he may not necessarily knock him out. But when it comes to outboxing Errol Spence, absolutely. Abso-positive-alutely. Even when talking about Kell Brook, think about how much experience Kell Brook has as a fighting top-tier welterweight. He doesn't even have that much experience fighting top-tier welterweight. We still don't even know how good Kell Brook is. So is it safe to say that by Errol Spence beating Kell Brook, does that really make him the best welterweight? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Okay? Do we know how good Errol Spence is by him beating Kell Brook if he beats Kell Brook? Not really. No. Okay? The evidence proves otherwise, family. The evidence proves otherwise. That's all I'm trying to say. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Hit it up in the comments section below. You could also hit me up on Twitter, BoxX or XDie. You could also hit me up on Facebook, Box -sign or -sign die. But until next time, it's your boy D Dynamite signing out. Holla at your motherfucking boy.